Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do. I trust you. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's good, everybody? It's Dyrect. Just tapping in, you know what it is, Dyrect.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
I'm from Bremerton, Washington. I don't know if y'all heard of Bremerton, but basically we've had a little impact in the game. Like if you go to Tacoma, if you're driving from California, you pass through Portland. If you go to Tacoma, you can either, keep going north to Seattle, or you can go west to Bremerton, Washington, across the Narrows Bridge. So I'm from Bremerton, man. Come from that era. I think the last era where in hip hop, I'm born in the latest year of 80s, 89. So I grew up in that area. I'm a rap artist from Bremerton, and I value like lyricism. I think we come from that era where there's still people that love that lyricism part of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Rap, but also I'm still young enough and in my prime to appreciate the current state of hip hop as well. So yeah.
And when did you get into it initially? What was like the starting point for music for you?
Well, I grew up with a legally blind mother, so my mom was legally blind. So in the house, we had to do lots of art and stuff like that. So, you grew up legally blind and you're poor. You barely got cable. Your damn show, internet wasn't a great thing when we were growing up. It was developing, right? .com is the with mid-90s, stuff like that. So for us, you had to, pick up a pen, pick up something. So that's where I started, drawing a lot as a kid. I was really artistic at 5, 6, 7. And then my brother came home and did an album with the homies when I was like 8, 8, 9. And he's 9 years older than me. So he was like 17, 18. And for me, that was amazing to see. Wow, he put something down. He's really a star on this record. And I was 9. So I started writing at like 9 years old for me for rap. That's when it really, happened for me. That I really started loving rap and stuff like that. So yeah, about 9.
Oh, gotcha. And do you still do like graphic art as well?
I don't really draw as much in my bed. My eyes are a little dry, man, when you stay up late on the weekends.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah. So for me, I still love to draw. I'm not as great. I used to be able to just draw you. I could just draw this room. But for me, it's whatever you work on. That's why I respect the 10,000 hour rule, right? So I could still draw because I did it since I was a kid. It's kind of like a kid that played golf as a kid or whatever, and then you grow up in there, but can you still golf? I mean, better than the average person. Yeah. But I'm not great at it. I spent a lot of time from 9 and stuff still starting to write and stuff. So I switched, I'd say one art for the other. I was always interested in different type of arts. I remember at like 10, I bought a guitar just randomly. Couldn't afford guitar lessons. So I held it for a couple years, learned a couple things, but didn't really get good at it. And then I remember I seen I think it was like a Kiss show or something. He jumped off the stage, just smashed his guitar, and I was like, smashed it. And that was the end of that journey. But I've always tried to do different type of arts. I can only imagine if I had parents that could afford everything, I probably would have done guitar,
a million things,
martial arts, a bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, I've been an art dude, and I respect the honing skill. I don't think people they want to be instantly good at everything, especially now. They don't value the process of being great. And I've always valued the process of being great, no matter what it is. Right now, another challenge I got to do is golf. Golf is hella hard. Hella hard. But you got to just enjoy going to the range, getting 100 balls and missing 40 of them, missing 50 of them, not hitting the ball, bro. Like hitting the tip of it, going that way. Anybody that's ever played golf, and then
the practicing the swing.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about golf, I think, also, I'm going to just praise golf right now, because in basketball and football, you got a football, you got your cleats. What if they told Michael Jordan, when you get to the free throw line, you have a different ball, a different hoop, and different shoes? Because when you get on the green, you have to chip to get on the green. That's a whole different shot than your swing as a chip, right? You need a sand wedge, a pigeon wedge, wherever you may be. Then when you get on the green, you have to switch your whole stance into a different stance, bruh, and putt.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane. No wonder Jordan never got good at golf, right? That's three different sports. That doesn't even make no sense. That's three different sports. That's like Tom Brady, throw like this, and this with three different balls, depending on where you are on the field. That's kind of crazy if you really think about it. But let me get off golf right now because it's frustrating.
Hell yeah. Now, for this next question, this is one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Let me think about this. I'm trying to think. It was either I'm trying to think. I was a huge hip hop fan. I think the very first ones that I remember. I forget the exact name of the CD. This is funny because it was the Busta Rhymes. I think it was like the CD that was like that. That's not what it is right now. I forget the name of that album. We have to look it up.
You can look it up.
This up. Yeah, I'm on a podcast. Let me look this up out of respect. This is going to be, so it was that Busta, because I remember it was skipping after a while. And I broke the damn CD because I was mad because it was skipping like, that's not.
Oh, man.
Back and forth.
Yep.
Busta Rhymes. What is it? Albums. Let's put in albums. It's going to be, he can't. I think it was that Genesis. The Genesis album of 2001, I think, was the very first CD that I bought with my own money.
Okay.
And it skipped. I had other CDs that were passed down, but me as a 11-year-old was like, I need to have that.
Yep.
And I remember it was funny because I didn't know anything about buying CDs, so I bought the edited version. Hella mad because it was skipping every other word. And then I didn't know CD care, so I'm a kid just putting my CD everywhere. And it was skipping, and I was mad, wiping it down with alcohol. Anybody that knows anything about having CDs, you're wiping it down with alcohol, bro. You're trying to, you're smoothing it out on smooth surfaces. You're trying to blow in the CD player. Yeah. And it was weird because that will work sometimes. And then, like, the next time you play it, it'll skip again, right?
Yeah.
So anybody that knows anything about that was my very first CD, was that one. I just remember just how it felt to buy the CD, pull it out of the plastic, read the back of it. Kids now don't know anything about opening up that cover. There was art in there. There was different art. You'd get your feel for your album in there, and then you'd get your track list. So it was always exciting to be like, I wonder what he's wearing inside the cover, right? That was what hip hop was about to me. Like, it was there used to be a story. Yeah. They wonder, and this is no disrespect to rap. I think the reason why it's changed now is because there is none of that. You don't have to develop a story. All eyes on me. You got Tupac on the front of it. Then you have the eye on the CD. Like, people don't understand that. Like, God damn, like this is a whole feel, right? Hip hop is missing a lot. I mean,
there's a large arc in the argument of like tangibility in music and like the removal of something physical being there, like changing the way that music holds an importance, because it's no longer an object. You know what I mean? It only exists as like as an entity even. Yeah. And so it's one of those things where you like, I think when you lose those spots to perform, I mean, yes, we make up for it a little bit with like social media and things like that, but that doesn't reach everybody, and it doesn't reach everybody the same way. When you buy a CD, when you have that, it reaches everybody the same way, because everybody who bought the CD is going to hold it and be presented it the same way.
I never thought about that. So it takes the people like, I wonder what Drake was going for on this CD. You would never guess that, because you'd have the CD, you'd have the back of the CD, you'd open the CD that would further whatever the message is in the CD. And then
it paints the mood of the album before the album is even put into the, whatever is going to play it.
Damn, I never thought about that. Get back to that. Yeah. When they get digital versions or something. I don't think it would hit the same though, because
that's what I'm saying. Because it's different media. Well, also the approach is different. Like now it's not the art for the cover. It's what 10 clips can you make?
Ooh, it's bright.
What 10 clips can you have to like, present this album to like all these different social media. So on different ones, you may see different things.
My bad, audience, man. Don't get 5.5 hours of sleep and then try to come to a podcast that's bright, man. We're gonna keep it all the way real with you. I didn't sleep. It's the weekend, so
I feel that.
We got up early on a Sunday. You never let me say this to the audience. You don't realize how early 11 is on a Sunday
until you
get up, get ready.
Yep.
Get some breakfast, then come to a podcast. So with all, with respect, y'all.
No, you're good. Now go ahead and tell us about the first show that you went to. That was like one you wanted to go to.
No, I do know the very first show I went to. So I remember being what was I? Like 12, 11 years old, and my cousin brings home a mixtape.
Mhm.
I think it was like Back for the First Time or something like that. It was everywhere I'm. We can curse on here? Can we
Yeah,
curse?
yeah.
Everywhere I'm at, everywhere I go, I stay surrounded by hoes. 50 Cent. It was the very first. I was like, what the? It was the 50 revolutionized the hook to me. Like 50 Cent was a hook master. People forget about this.
Yeah.
50 Cent was a great writer. like they forget. So that blew my mind, right? We had Hove, we had Jada. We never had nobody that was like street smooth like that. I felt since that I had been alive, because Pac died in '96. Since that was like that. So that blew my mind. And the very first concert that I went to was the 50 Cent Seattle Get Rich or Die Trying concert in 2002.
Okay.
Blew my mind. I remember walking in, being 12 years old. Was it 2002 or 2003? I was 13, so it was 2002.
Mhm.
And just walking in and seeing 50 come out in the vest, and it was G-Unit, bro. I was there. It was fucking over. It was like, oh my God, this dude is the, like I think 8 Mile was dropping around there. It was a great time to be a rap fan, bro. And I still remember just the impact that had on me. I was just like, I don't even felt like I was there. Like I felt like I was out of body, like watching the concert. Like this is gonna be me. And and after the concert, we were super poor, man. We were headed back to the ferry, and we walk along, and something told us like there was just this big ass white, like it looked like a what you would see now, like when you go on like I've traveled a lot, so when you go to different countries and people are like. This is like Chinese tourist or something like that in a big ass, like passenger van, what I'm saying? Not even passenger van, it's like the bus type of ones, almost like a tour bus.
Mhm.
And I remember like, no, I think we should wait here a couple of minutes. I remember saying that. And I don't know what it was. This is when he was the biggest star in the world.
Yep.
And we were like, we're about to go. All of a sudden, there's this security guard. I seen a dude riding on the outside of a car like the president, but he was standing on the outside of the car. And they pulled up in front of us. It opens a car, and this is 50 Cent right here on the street with me and my cousin. I was 13 years old.
Oh, damn.
And I'm like, what the fuck, right? This shit blew my mind. I'm like, dog, this is my first concert ever, bro. Like this is. So then walks past me. Game was in the unit now. I think Buck was there. I'm not sure if Yale first got locked up because there was a bunch of little cats. 50 walked by, shook my hand, and got a picture. That was the very first concert I went to. Ironically, the last concert that I went to, 50 has not been back to the Northwest until now. Like he came back for the Get Rich or Die Trying 20-year anniversary. So I just went to that.
Oh, shit.
So it was crazy to just be like, damn, this is the first concert, and it just was the last concert that I went to.
Yeah, right. Very full circle for this
very full
particular
circle.
moment.
Yeah, 50 is the man. I hate how he doesn't get as much flowers as he did as an artist. I think because he beats with a lot of the game. But we've never in our lifetime, I don't personally think, seen a superstar to that magnitude. Eminem is like just like a continual like star, but like heartbeat drop. Like there was nothing more famous than like that was weird. It was like a weird moment. I don't think that hip hop has ever had a star like that developed and ready for the spotlight. We'll say that. Boy has shoes, video games, movies, rap CDs, all in one. Drake can't sell shoes right now. He has not. I'm no disrespect to Drake. No, hey, bro, you're Drizzy. No disrespect, you Drake. But saying that, we're just saying the type of star that he was. The number one video game, the number one movie, the number one shoe, the number one. Bro, he had us wearing white beaters with colors on the side. You gotta respect 50, man. And now he's selling movies 30 years later. Come on, man. Dude's ridiculous, right?
No,
ridiculous.
Definitely. Hell yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and dive into you as the artist. Let's get to know you a little bit better. And I mean, we're going to get the easy one out of the way.
Yeah.
How'd you pick your name?
So I started off, Little Chaos was my first name. LIL KAYOUS.
Okay.
And so everybody had Little Bow Wow, Little Romeo. I was super young, like 11, 10. And then I was like, you know what? I'm bringing direct chaos to the game. So switch my name, not Dyrect, Dyrect, Dyrect. I remember talking with my cousin, like, I'm Direct Chaos. Then there was a couple people from the hood. They were like Chaos. Their name was Chaos or whatever. They were like, I grew up around an actual hood setting, like where dudes had hood names. Like this is his hood name. You know what I'm saying? So for me, you know, I grew up, my brother had his own name. I grew up around real hood dudes that had their own name. So I'm like, I start thinking about what it is to be successful. So Jay, Big, Pac, Hove, like just Yay, you know, say Kanye. Like you have to have something, and this is about the science of music and musicians.
Mhm.
Kiss, Prince, Mike. They go by one.
Mhm.
One Michael. They really go by one name. Like when you have, there's yet to people that Drake.
Mhm.
There's yet people that we have that have long ass names that you're just gonna say. Nostradamus is Nas.
Yeah.
you Nas. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, how do we simplify this to be a name that when somebody knows it, they won't forget it? Busta. You're not gonna forget Busta.
Yeah.
It's simple as hell. Like, is he a Buster? But it's Busta. Direct TV. There's a bunch of direct things. Direct. Yeah. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to directly have an effect on you. Direct. This is easy to say. You're going to be able to say it with one word. This is the name.
I mean, coincidentally, it's the definition too. Direct is the point from A to B in the most efficient way possible. It's the most direct.
Yeah, straight line, fast way in between 2 points. Right. So that's how I got my name, is that I wanted to be that way. And we were freestyle battling. It was something that you really couldn't. You couldn't do anything funny with, really. You know what I'm saying? Chaos, you could flip this. So we were doing battle. So it's like, how do you flip that? It's hard to flip it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I got my name. I stuck with it. I was very much the first one out there with it. Now there's a couple people that have little extensions of it, like that have come in the later years. But if you look, I'm still the number one artist with it and stuff like that. So that's how I got my name. Yeah, been doing it. Pretty much you could look at me online. If you put in Direct Chaos, you could find records of me from 13. You hear my voice change on the microphone pretty much. I've been in the studio since I was young like that. So yeah. Now I'm 30, so you could hear the full maturity of the artist and stuff like that. So pretty cool.
That.
Yeah.
Now take us through your writing process, and specifically, I want to focus on 2 points. Mm-hmm. First, when you get inspired, obviously, we'll get past there. You're in the mood to make music. Mm-hmm. What are those first things that you do every time? How do you like get into the motions? Mm-hmm. And then what decides a track is ready to release?
Okay. So my writing process, I try not to make it too difficult. I think there's a difference between writers now. This is like the difference between, I started playing basketball a lot when I got older. There's people that have been playing it since they're younger. Now I can get as good as those people, but will it, in certain ways, but will it ever be as natural? Yeah. Will you just pass me a basketball and I'm like, I don't even think, I've seen people say, God damn, bro, this is a water in hand to you.
Yeah.
I have to think about it. Defender there, spin pass, come back, shoot the ball. Like I have to think about this stuff, right? It's the same thing with like hip hop artists. Now, what I would say in how I gauge a hit, and this is to all artists, take this serious. A hit is something that you could sing when it comes to you naturally.
Okay.
That is a hit record. If you're sitting there and the beat is and it naturally comes to you, if you're thinking I need to make something difficult or something, and you're like, here we go, bless me with the foe. All right, that kind of goes a little bit. But if you're just sitting there like grinding, grinding, that is a hit record. The way that it just naturally flowed to you. So as an artist, if you really look at great artists, Michael Jackson, I don't know if you knew this, Michael Jackson couldn't play an instrument, not one. So there's a clip of Michael Jackson, and it's just interesting between genius writers. There's different writers that write different ways. He sent in when he did beat it, he was like, he didn't know how to do it, so he did every instrument with his voice. I don't know if this is almost like some Stevie Wonder type shit. Like he was like, he's doing all those, and he did different clips, and it was the beat, and people just found instruments kind of fill that in. Well, it's the same thing when you're writing. When a great artist, I think, writes music, they could hear it kind of in their heads. I know that make a rhythm. Your voice is an instrument. So Young Thug is a great example. If I was doing Biggie, Give Me One More Chance, it would start out. So you want to find words. Yeah, it can be pick me if we go to the dance. That kind of, no, that doesn't go.
Yeah.
It should be chance instead of dance. Like that's how you kind of rhythm it down. Mm-hmm. But that rhythm that you get, that is the hit record. Mm-hmm. people, when they write against that, that's when you start to hear records that you're like, well, I don't really like that because they tried to get something particular out of this record.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Have you watched the Temptations? Have you watched any of that? They don't really do that. They go in there like, and then that is their flow. They're not going to be like, well, we need to talk about the cloudy day. That will come.
Yeah.
But this is I Got Sunshine. And so that's how I kind of approach records, man. I just go and listen to a beat and stuff that goes naturally. I don't really have time. I work a real job, right? I don't really have time to make hella records. I remember they say that sometimes artists, 50-60% of their records are not good.
Yeah.
I think that you do that a lot going into your 10,000 hours. I think the reason why you get into places where artists get now, where you hear a lot of good artists and you're like, their record's not good, is because they have a bunch of yes men around them.
Yeah.
They have people, they don't even have to try no more. They're just, oh, that sounds good. You can get to that too as an artist and still make good records. But it's about knowing that you don't have the time and that you're just making the ones that are hits.
Yeah.
So right now I'll go through 1,000 beats and I'll just make the ones that are good. So my track record right now has been fantastic with fans for the last year and a half, because it's like, damn, you did a record that I never thought about anybody doing this, because I'm not doing any fail records. I'm only sitting there listening to the ones that I have a theory right now. This is my theory, and this is what you're going to get with me. The hottest visuals, the hottest beats, and the hottest lyrics. Mm-hmm. The game is there's 1 billion songs that come out a day right now. Yeah. 1 billion songs, bro. So how do you separate yourself from me? Every time you hear me, you're going to be like, that is the hottest beat. How do you do that? You have to listen to beats and be like, what is the one that makes you go like this? As soon as you hear it, there's a difference. Like when you hear, you know who Larry June is? Mm-hmm. When you hear that 91, without him on it, if you listen to a palette of beats, that's the one that's going to make you, like this beat is fucking,
exactly.
So he did that as Larry June listened to hella beats and was like, this is that beat.
Yep.
I'm not taking no beat just because you send me a beat. It has to be the one that makes my neck break. Let's do that first. Sometimes those beats are like selection crew beats. You can't even rap off them. Yeah. Sometimes beats are like work of arts. Don't rap off that beat. That beat is so beautiful. It's an instrumental that you just listen to.
Yeah.
There's a reason why producers just make instrumentals, beat tapes sometimes, because these aren't meant to be rapped on. DJ Quick was really good at that back in the day. Quick mixes, right?
Yeah.
So those beats are so beautiful. I am not trying to fucking hear Snoop Dogg or nobody rap to this. This is a fucking work of art.
Yeah.
But producers can take a little off that and make it rappable.
Exactly.
So it's those beats that you break your neck to. Then you have your visual person or something, your artistic team draw up a beautiful visual for this as you write your song. Now, if you hear that beat and it makes you go 91, 91, that's the record. You know what I'm saying? And that's I think that's where artists are missing. That's why there's music writing schools to teach artists these type of things. Yeah. It was the same thing with classical composers, right? And Wolfgang, if you go to music, hasn't changed that much. People were killing themselves to get that hit back then. Music is a composer is a writer, which is basically today's equivalent of an artist or somebody that's putting something together with multiple people, right? So music has not changed. It's kind of like boxing and fighting. The art form has just become refined.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That was all really well put.
Yeah. I'm a huge music. Like I think people are not music. I'm a history fan, first of all. Yeah. So like Mozart's story, it's crazy. Most of the people, and then the appreciation of the art. Like do what's true to you. People died poor. Beethoven, they thought he was crazy. You look at all these people, like Da Vinci, I think was locked away or some shit like that. Like Mozart died. Van Gogh cut off his ear. I went to Venice and seen like a porch that was famous that Mozart we went to where he used to live at in Venice and stuff like that. And it's just like, damn, he was just a normal dude living his life and wasn't really appreciated to the end of his life. Yeah. So do stuff that's true to you. I don't think that Erykah Badu said there's 3 different type of artists. There's artists that are true creators and originators. Mm-hmm. Those ones are probably not really appreciated. Right? Those are the ones that die early, the Wolfgang Amadeus Mozarts, the people that die for you to get a piece of what they did. Yeah. And then there's artists that learn from those artists. They're true creators, but they take from those artists and then mix in what they want to mix in, right? Then they're creative enough to take from what they learn from those artists and then add in their own originality. These are for their own things and they go for longevity. These are typically the really rich, well-off artists like Jay-Z, those people that I'm gonna learn from something from Big, I'm gonna learn something from this person. and become big. So they're not the ones. They're not the people that are just gonna die creative or poor. They're the people that actually learn how to get the money off those experiences.
Yeah.
And then there's people that completely do what they're told to do and don't know anything about music. And those are typically your fad artists. And that's what the music industry is full of right now.
Yeah.
They used to go to the hood or wherever and find the most talented artists. Like, CoverGirl goes to the middle of, people don't know this, they go to Amazon or Brazil or some shit, and they'll be in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
See a pretty ass girl that you think is poor and she's the next top model. The beauty has no borders. Like, you could be somewhere. They used to do this with art. I mean, the famous story of how they found Nas, the music executives, went to the hood in Queens, and we heard about this guy. You had to be the best, period, in your area, and we're coming for you. DMX, jaw wired shut, wrapped his jaw open. You hear about these famous stories. Why were they so good?
Yeah.
Because we went to find the great.
Mhm.
It wasn't, oh, this is my cousin, and I got auto-tune on my computer. I can mix this up, and he can become this, right? It wasn't like that. It was like, these are the true greats in your neighborhood. Motown. How did you get the Jackson 5, the Isley Brothers, Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell, Diana? How did you get all this? Because you had to come try out. You had to be the best in the Midwest. Everybody's standing on a porch and we're going to pick the best.
Mhm.
We're here all day, period. The best, child or not. And now it's not like that. It's about who you know, right? It's not about who is talented.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why the last of those bunch that are from that are still kind of just running the game. You know what I'm saying? Like Lil Wayne, like the last of the really, really talented people. And I think that is the problem with the game right now. It's not, instead of saying who's the best, people are like, well, shit, it's me. I can mix myself down.
Yeah.
The girl knew Whitney Houston. Well, this is funny. If a girl knew Whitney Houston today and they asked her, who's the best singer in New Jersey? I don't want to put anybody on the bus. I'm trying to think of somebody that's just not that great of a singer, but I'm not going to do that. I don't really diss anybody. So this person would be like, well, I can sing You or Not. I can sing, Bodyguard or whatever. If I mix my song, if I mix my vocals down,
Mhm.
That's Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Right.
Doesn't make sense. And that's the part that is crazy about the game right now. You can't even tell somebody something is not artistically whatever, right? You'll get chewed from this artistic direction. No, it used to be like, this dude is not good at lyrics, and everybody could be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But now it's not really like that no more. It's like open to interpretation.
No, definitely. And I mean, music presentation is just, it's a whole other world. Like it like there's so much more. We put so much emphasis on it in so many ways that I think that societally we've just run ourselves thin to a certain point. But that could be a whole nother episode of topic. So let's get back into talking about you a little bit more. And this next one, actually, this is a fun one. Tell us about either your most favorite or the wildest show you've ever performed at. Or if you have a story for both, you can definitely share both.
Most favorite or wildest show I've ever performed at. I'd say my favorite show that I ever performed at is we did a show back home. I'm from Bremerton, Washington, at the Charleston Theater. That was downtown. We sold it out and everybody came. So I think that was like the craziest show that I've ever performed at, because we had, Bremerton is, everybody knows there's a bunch of drama back home. So we had different hoods and different sets in this building, and everybody was there having fun. I thought that was a great experience for me. It's not really nothing wild. I don't really have we ran out the back type shows or nothing like that. I don't think I've had those experiences yet. But for me, that was the experience to be like, oh, we could bring everybody out, come out, do this thing here. And then one of the ones that I cherished recently is we did a show for my project that just released with Dre Slabs. Dre Slabs is the producer from Portland, Oregon. One of the hottest producers in the area. Dre Slabs, DRAESLAPZ. Check him out. That's my boy. He's my producer. But we did a joint album called Dyrect. It went number 3 on iTunes, on the iTunes charts for hip hop and music recently. So for me, we did a show, and the show was just packed, beautiful. My bad. We presented a plaque to Mike Capes. He had the number 2 album there. So that was cherishing for me, because we had people come out from Washington and Oregon and kind of put it together. So that was the last show that we did. So it's pretty much a show that I did at home, and then the last show that we did because the project went number 3. We just did a plaque for that. If y'all seen that online, we just got the plaque for that too. We're getting plaques finally. So yeah, we working that out, man. that was pretty special to me. So I don't really have no Like I said, you hear stories, oh, NWA, the police stopped us and we didn't. I don't really have those stories yet.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. I just, sometimes somebody has a story where they're like, oh yeah, somebody like climbed onto the roof and then did the crazy,
Yeah.
like, you know, that
Yeah.
sometimes those are the ones, but
Yeah.
you know,
I don't have none of those yet.
that's all right. That's
They'll
all
be
right.
happening one of these days.
Oh, yeah. Now, this last question kind of focuses out, or rounds out the artist focus portion. But this one's a little bit of a denser question. But we've talked a lot about like what comes from music, what music doing, how it impacts people, things like that. What happens because music happened. But what is it about the process of music when it's just you and the music one-on-one, sitting in the space, in the thick of it, no crowds, no spaces, no nothing. What is it about that just keeps giving to you in a way that you can't stop? Like, what is it about the process?
Music is very therapeutic to me. I think that as Black men period are not encouraged to express their feelings a lot. They have a lot of terms, toxic masculinity, this and that, but it all comes down to is if a man cries in public, they'll tell him stop bitching, right? And in the Black community, I think that the Black community is like a microcosm of what white society has given us. For instance, not telling is very big in the Black community. Don't snitch. But that comes from American values. Don't trade on me. Right? There's flags with this during the Civil War. Do not, a snake, a tail, right? We use only terms that American society had put on us when we were under a certain oppressive state of America, right? So we just took these values a lot more serious than the actual Americans right? That non-telling thing is like, what? Don't y'all be telling on each other. That is white values, right? Yeah. These are white values that are American. So Black people, even, you gotta think about it, when males are not taught to express themselves, that has been hyper turned up to a different degree in the Black community. So for me with music, it was always a way to be able to express myself and be super good at something that nobody could take from you. I couldn't just afford to go get the new basketball shoes, play all the time, but I could always afford to be able to go write something. Yeah. So music is very therapeutic to me. I feel like when I don't write for a while, it's almost like not seeing a therapist for a while. I can sit down, talk about a period in my life, explain it from my point of view in a digestible way for the user. So that's the part of music that I really enjoy, is being able to sit down and express something in a way that nobody else could express something, right? I got a song called Man in the Mirror, my new project. I have a lyric that says, they say it only makes you stronger, that if it doesn't kill you, I got PTSD. Can't let a sucker near me, that's right. Still working on the man in the mirror, that's right. Still working on the man in the mirror. PTSD, got me barely sleeping. If I can't hit a bleeds, shit, I'm barely eating. I tell my girl you'll get what's yours for never question leaving. The way I'm out here with this music, probably think I'm cheating, right? So the music is, but I'm just out here trying to press a line. I'm betting on myself every time and put that ism off in every line. I'll ask the Lord, could I get a sign? I asked the Lord, could I get a sign? He told me, Reezy, get a grind. You know what I'm saying? The backstabs from the closer, how you mortified. So I keep a toast to life like I say L'Haim. Like people don't. So this is me saying that, you know what I'm saying? I'm on this music journey. Yeah. Everything that I'm going through, my girl, this could cause problems in your relationship, everything, because this is not measurable. The music is the most painful thing and beautiful thing that you will ever go through. And people don't really understand this. I will never let my child be a musician unless they truly just fall into it. I better just pull them away from music, just honest to God. Because there's no reason to be this good without a pathway for somebody to truly recognize it. Think about it. Damian Lillard was shooting on motherfucking crates in Oakland. Shooting on crates. But if I hit this spot, every time, bitch, when I go to school, Larry Bird, there's just a little country in the background with a broken hoop. But bitch, when that motherfucker's straight, I don't care who's out here. Yeah. There's a way to recognize this. When I go to school, you about to recognize this. Yeah. Where's it for us? There's no academy for Tupac Shakur to write Brenda's Got a Baby right now, and we're wondering what has happened. We're squandering the greatest talent. There's a reason why hip hop was loved like that, because you could measure a guitar, you could measure everything. Where is Muhammad Ali float? Like where is this coming from? People telling the urban story, and I think that it's the most painful thing in the world. Like even when I was just saying the man in the mirror, I'm explaining that like this current struggle, music is almost like being above water. You can see being underwater. You can see the surface, but you can't break it.
Yeah.
Right. And it just sucks, bro. Like, I think that it really sucks. There's not really no Juilliard for this shit. And now that it's become so commercialized, like you got teachers rapping science. This is what we do for dinner. It wasn't like that in Pot's era. Remember in the 90s when you ask somebody could they rap and they say, I can't rap?
Yeah.
Remember people, I can't rap.
Yeah.
It's almost like singing. Nah, hell no, I can't rap. Yes, everybody, I could kind of rhyme and put a couple words. You ask anybody, motherfucker, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about greats, right? And that's the part that sucks about this music thing is that I come from that era. I know that I'm in that era. F at 10,000 hours. I've read the book of Outliers, right? Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers. Have you ever read this? Everybody that's referencing 10,000 hours, get it. Get the real book, Malcolm Gladwell.
That's
Outliers.
actually, it's a concept that's referenced on the show pretty regularly.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, you got to think about the respect of the art. Bill Gates was who he was because he had access to a computer in downtown Seattle when nobody had access to coding and computers.
Yeah.
The Beatles were sent to perform all day in the summer. They did it from fucking, 3 in the morning. They did it from 6 in the morning to midnight or some shit like that every day in the summer. So they had 10,000 when they came in at the end of the summer to talk to their teacher. They was almost better than them.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was legally blind. So I had 10,000 coming out of the house and I, do 20,000, you do 30,000. So where's the space for somebody to actually appreciate that? It's very frustrating that, I say I do a type of music. Somebody, I make music too. Like, you don't do the type of, we're not even in the same. No disrespect to anybody that does music. I just truly feel there's a difference between, and I don't, like I said, I don't really like doing comparisons, but I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there because there's a difference between J. Cole and Yeat. There is. there's a difference between the pen time that was put in there.
Yeah.
Yeat is very popular. He's from this area. Cool. I don't know if he really represents this area, but there's no way that you're going to tell me if there's a talent scout that if you listen to this, you put them in a room and you just like, who make this song to this beat, that J. Cole could not prove that there is 40, 50,000 hours of that pen, right?
Yeah.
That is the problem right now with hip hop. That's the problem. And not trying to say that there always shouldn't be two extremes. I love Humpty Dumpty as much as I loved Pac.
Yeah.
Right? There should always be two different extremes. But people forget ODB spent 10,000 hours in his lane. People are not spending 10,000 hours no more.
No.
They're not. And then when they get signed, they're at 5,000 and then they have somebody else telling them what else to do, right? Just because there was different styles back in the day, all these people were really fucking good in their style. You know what I mean? See, Heavy D was really good at his style. Go listen to him, bro. They have 10,000 hours. Busta Rhymes is a fucking 100,000 hour dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen to his lyrics, listen to his bars, listen to his stories. He's not limited by give me some more. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that he put in that creativity that shows you the creative side of having the pen developed that greatly. Method Man, Redman, there's different styles. They didn't even have to copy each other because they were 10,000 hours in their style. That's how you get multiple greats in the same period. Boxing, everybody did it. Yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, you get multiple greats at that period. Motown, Isley Brothers, you know what I'm saying? Temptations, Stylistics, you get multiple greats because everybody has 10, 20, 30,000 hours when they're up there. That microphone cuts off. You don't even need, he sing to the audience. Just you hear some of these vocals of these dudes. You hear these dudes dancing around and just like there's a reason why it was like that. Sorry to go off on a tangent. It's just,
no, you're good.
That's my passion with music. I'm super passionate about putting the time in. Everybody wants to skip the process. Put the time in, but we also have to have something that recognizes the time. Like there's no reason to be Kendrick Lamar and not meet Top Dog and not have an opportunity to show somebody that you're Kendrick Lamar, right? Like there's no place for Kendrick to say, where do I go? You know what I'm saying? Really? I mean, everybody says, oh, hustle and stuff like that is, you know what I'm saying? I don't think, unless you're like Drake or somebody that has that phenomenon where you happen to be half of what it is a culture. He's half black, but he's also half of what pushes Hollywood. He's half Jewish, right? He's half of what pushes media, right? So he's a perfect storm. People don't really recognize that. He's a perfect storm like a Lenny Kravitz or some shit like that. That's just a perfect storm because you're perfect of everything that goes into that. Now you're gonna get the biggest publishing deals and stuff like that because when somebody that sits down that had a what is that called that they have when they're when they turn a certain age, a bar mitzvah.
Mhm.
You sit down with this dude and you talk about having a bar mitzvah. Right? What was that like? Oh, da, 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 da. Then you can go to somebody in Memphis and talk about growing up in Memphis. It's a perfect storm. So a lot of kids are not going to have that outlet. So how do you have a kid that's from urban America that's that good still be able to access the masses, right?
No.
So it's pretty interesting. I think right now it's turning into an elitist, like, who are you connected to, right? Unfortunately, and I think that's the reason why everybody's complaining right now. I think hip hop is in a very dangerous state. Go back and find your greats. Start going back and finding them. It doesn't stop finding your cousins, man.
kind of a thought I had as you were saying. One thing that I don't think it goes against the 10,000 hour concept, but I think something that changes the way it works is that when we were younger, when the greats were younger, when there wasn't accessibility, there wasn't examples, there wasn't so much opportunity to see what you were doing already being done. Like you had to get a cassette. You know what I mean? Like you had to find the one, somebody else had to have one, or you had to go see somebody do it. So the only examples you ever got were in the real world. The only ever examples you got were the ones you like fought for, the ones that you tried for. Growing up, we didn't have examples. Like we had, the 3-4 people that we knew did it the best. And yes, that was what was presented because them being the best got them to the point of presentation. Now, there is such a diverse middle ground. Like, yes, there are still people who don't do it good. There are still people who do it infinitely better than others. But there is such a wide middle ground now. There's such an accessible space of people presenting them in the process. You never saw the greats in the process until they were already past that because, nobody had a camcorder.
Yeah.
Like when back in the day, like those were hard to get. So like you couldn't just be in the studio and someone's like, oh, I've got my iPhone out. Like, like those moments didn't exist. So now we as a society, especially like current and younger musicians who are just starting where we are now, succeeded past that point, they don't get shown music the same way. So that like the way that music is approached is entirely different. And not just that, the world narrative is so different. They can't write about the same struggles that we wrote about because they don't have them. It's not to say they don't have their own, but even further past that, there is a new community. There's a new approach to music and a new way of ingesting music. That is, it's not this, like I've interviewed people who have never bought an album, and that's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that because they still love music. They're still sitting on the same couch you are. So yes, there is like a wash right now. The industry is washed right now. There is a lot of, as you said, fat artists. There's a lot of this like poor presentation. There's a lot of this lack of definition because there is so much accessibility. But where that differs is that the narrative will change in the next 5 to 10 years. Everybody's moving away from streaming services already, moving on to YouTube. Everybody's moving away from their like this and going on to that. Like the narrative is being taken control of by the artists entirely. But the problem is that the artists are not an industry, so there's no organization yet. What's going to happen over time is eventually it will kind of devolve itself into an almost like everybody just has to go everywhere and do their music if they want to be heard. Putting it on a platform doesn't stand the sands of time. Performing your music always will. And I think we're going to eventually get back to that point where the only way to succeed in music is to perform it.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, that's what's going to make it tough because a lot of these artists can't perform. They're playing a song.
No, a lot of these artists don't perform.
Yeah.
But eventually it'll get to the point where the only artists we'll be ingesting are the ones who perform. It'll kind of full circle itself because when going to the internet doesn't yield you the results that you need anymore, you're going to try and find it. And if the only way to try and find it is to physically go and experience it somewhere, that's where it'll happen.
That's going to start eliminating a lot of these artists that aren't true artists, though. Because to be a great performer is to be a great artist a lot of times. You don't see a lot of people that aren't great artists that are great performers.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that like eventually it will come full circle where we will want to find that again. I think right now we are relishing in the accessibility because it did not exist before.
You know, the funny part is that we're pushing all these new artists, new styles and stuff like that for that oorah moment, that oh moment. But the artists that are still being praised and the legends are the artists that are still from the fabric that I'm telling you about.
Well,
right?
They are, but that's because the people that still control the narrative of praise still appreciate that.
Yeah, but
a time for that will change eventually. Eventually, none of those artists will be here. Like that is just linearly, that is going to happen. And that is what I'm saying. When that happens, when we have no more greats to lean on, when our Mount Rushmore of artists are just statues and not living, that there will have to come a time where a redefinition exists. We may not see it. Like you and I may not live. Like I hope we live to see that. I hope we live in it, not live to see it following us. You know what I mean? Like I hope that we get to see it in our time. But also, there's a part of me that really has to appreciate what music does now, because what it does do well, what I think is probably my favorite thing about current music, is the dissolving of limitations on what something has to be. Like before it was like, oh, it has to be the style song to fit on this station or to fit with this place. It has to be the style of things. Like the merging of genres, while it's abstract at the moment, I mean, like hyperpop in and of itself is so a conglomerate of things. But like there are so many genres now that are accepting of other things. And I mean, best worst example is country. Country lets everything in once it's doing well. And that's not to say that country is a good genre or the best genre or anything like that. But over time, we're going to kind of dissolve that. I mean, you see synthesizers in everything now. Could you imagine in like 1970 seeing a synthesizer in a country band? Oh, the world would not know what to do with that.
Or even 90s. Right?
Yeah. And so that's just like music kind of, it broke its boundaries and now it's kind of a puddle of everything. And eventually that's going to solidify. It's going to turn into something. But we as people, we as musicians, just the collective, we at all, not even the you and I, we focus so much on what it isn't anymore. And that's fine. Everything isn't what it was anymore. Yeah. A lot of society isn't what it was anymore. And some of those things are good. So we now just need to take the things that are there. We need to get ready for it to solidify and be proprietors to the solidification. Like you can set foundations by doing exactly what you say you're doing now, which is being true to yourself as your artist, presenting the sound that you think is the best of your sound. That's not to say in the beginning you shouldn't put out anything and get the critique, the conversation. But once it gets to a point where you understand it, and having the ability to understand things sooner because we have access to knowledge, that just means we have all the tools to succeed. That doesn't mean that just because anybody can do it, they should or shouldn't. But that just means that anybody who tries hard enough, anybody who's willing to put in the 10,000 hours, anybody who's willing to do 5 episodes a week and learn new things from scratch, like they have the best tools they need to survive. But the individuality is the thing that stands out. And you can do that through social media. You can do that with no social media. There are plenty of people who still go out there and shake hands and make faces. I mean, shout out Oblé Reed. He's a previous artist on the show. He boots on the ground. He went and met everybody in his local scene. He shook every hand he could. And when his main album dropped, 1 million listens organically in the first month.
Rap artist?
Yeah. Up in Seattle.
Wow.
Yeah. Episode 302, I believe, if you're interested. But like, that's just like there is a lot of saturation, and everybody is focused on that. Everybody gets focused on the fat. But the reality is there's still a lot of meat. There's still a lot of potatoes, and there's still a lot of art in music. It's just we need to start appreciating more and less searching. Music doesn't have to be a dichotomy. It doesn't have to be like a commodity. Yeah. It's an appreciation. You can listen to 1,000 artists in a day and appreciate every single one of them.
But I do think, and this is what I think I was saying more of, even though we have that puddle and all that, the people in the greatest in each genre are still people that give you a throwback feel. Chris Stapleton.
Oh, yeah. Well, because they do them well.
Thundercat.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Stapleton. Like when you hear these dudes, you put Chris Stapleton in 1985, he's singing their country boots off. In 1975, they might pass out to Chris Stapleton. like Thundercat, you can put Thundercat in many different periods of time, right? When you look at Kendrick Lamar, he could rap in the 90s. Like J. Cole, he could rap in the 90s. Like when you look at these artists, they're still doing the groundwork that these other artists did. They're not skipping any of the steps, is what I'm saying. And hip hop and music is like fashion. It just repeats itself. It goes somewhere, it goes to a different point. It goes deep, it goes flashy, and then it comes back to deep at some point. If you really think about it, right?
Oh no, totally.
And I think that hip hop is going through its flashy moment again. Like we think about it, when hip hop first started, that was hip hop, a hip, a hip. It was more street, more dance flash, and then we went to the deep rock hymns and people that could really rap. Then we went to NWA, a little bit darker. Then it went bright again, Humpty Dumped, all the dance, the early '90s stuff.
Yeah.
Then Pac and then brought it back to real. Then it went super flashy after that. We want to go completely away from that. Bubble suits. Everybody has jackets. Everyone's dancing.
Yeah.
It was like that in like from '97 to fucking 2001, 2002. Juvenile backed that ass up, and then it kind of came back to real with Hove, Nas, and them coming back to a real period of time to 50, and it was just real for a second. And then it went to Atlanta, where it started going back to its dance moment, and then hip hop right now is going into its flashy stance. But I do truly think that we're getting the last of the superficial, and that people are really getting hungry for somebody that could talk about something.
Exactly.
Israel, Palestine. Like people want you to really talk about something. And I think that is getting back to somebody where they want more of a profit piece instead of somebody that's just telling you that my shoes look good, right? I think that they're praying for it right now. Yeah. And the industry doesn't really recognize how they're starving for it. They're not starving for somebody, but they're starving for it in a way that, and this is no disrespect, they're starving for it less in a way that Nas had went about it, like Kendrick Lamar does that a lot sometimes. And people, and the beauty of the way that Tupac Shakur did it, like people don't really know that was the greatest example of how to really do it. He told you some shit that you didn't really know that you were being told until you went back and listened twice after bobbing your head. Yeah, that is fucking insane. I remember somebody was saying, and Ebro in the morning broke this down. They're like, well, Tupac wasn't a lyricist. It was like, lyricists today will eat up Tupac, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, Tupac made a whole song on one fucking subject and didn't switch the subject once. Who does that? You know how hard that is? Yeah. I'm going to make a song about being depressed today on Thursday about my car accident and not rap about drinking no bottles, partying with my homies, not stopping to get no women, no nothing. Brenda's got a baby. Go. On just Brenda. Yeah. Like, what the... Don't switch subjects now. Yep. Don't talk about Brenda as a fat ass. Don't talk about going to the club. Don't talk about Brenda's sex life. Yeah. Talk about Brenda's struggles with her. That's like a fucking... Anybody that's ever taken a speech class, they do shit like that. Yep. That shit's hard to do. Yeah. It's hard to do in speech class, bruh. You have to be a hell of a lyricist to get a head bob out of that. You know, I get around a little easier. That's one subject. They wonder why they call you White Man's World. He did it multiple times to where you're like, what the did I just hear? Yep. Then you go back and you hear Political Prisoners, Mutulu Shakur. Then you start reading your books and you hear about Asada Shakur. Dude was teaching you like history in a song that you liked that was digestible. Yeah. Or even how when he was talking about how he got shot and stuff, like the way that he would talk about Haitian Jack and all these players and stuff, and you just start hearing about them now, like when KVD is getting arrested, like dude was like way beyond, he was really like an artist with this spin. He was way beyond, there's still people that can't do that. Like people talk about stuff like Immortal Technique and stuff, but he's all over. When I was a kid, something, this led to the Cuban, something now is Cuban Revolution, and it's deep. You just have to really pay attention. With Pac, you didn't have to search like a book to pay attention. It was, Brenda's got a baby, this is what the subject's about. Yep. That's simple and beautiful and hella hard to do in the same. You have to be a hell of a lyricist. Yeah. To even be able to do that. People don't even think about that. They forget how hard it is. Like how hard that is. If we did that to 90% of these artists and said, make a song about whatever. Don't talk about your jewelry. Don't talk about nothing flashy. Don't talk about nothing except this. They would stop rapping after like 2, 3, 4 bars. 3, 4. Brenda had a baby. She's sick. She got raped. I don't know what else to say, man. Like they wouldn't even be able to tell the whole story about the baby in the bathroom. Like, like the dude made you read a book without even, you know. There's a beauty in that. I think that we're really missing that from the game, which is why Nas could release like 5 albums in the last 2 years, and people are buying every one of them. Right? There's a reason why a 50-year-old. Is one of the top selling artists winning Grammys at 50, because it's like we really still miss some of that, right? Hip hop does not have that no more. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It does, but in a great fashion. Not in the not in the first or the second category, but they're all in that third. Remember the three type of artists?
Yep.
They're more in that third type of category. Shout out Erica Badu for giving the type of artist category. She named this before, like people that just follow what you do. They're tangible people that can learn from what other people do, and they are creative on their own. So they mix the two styles together. There's people that are just complete innovators and they die for the art. That is the first artist that you see. Those are usually the ones that the left eyes, the people that you just be like, damn, they were great for that time period. Prince fighting for artists' rights. Like, you really think about what they did. Even like to a certain extent, Elvis, looking at black styles and taking certain black styles and stuff like that. That was innovative to be like to America that this is more. I grew up on Beale Street. People don't know this, like, you know what I'm saying, B.B. King and stuff that I don't know if they know this, but Elvis and them knew each other when they was young.
Yeah.
They had to tell them not to kick it, you know what I'm saying? So even the innovation of being a person like, damn, I love black music. I love black culture. Let me see how I can mix this into my music. That is innovative as like that's crazy innovative deep at that time, right?
Yeah.
So we just don't have a lot of artists that do that anymore. Not to say, to the black artists that got taken through that, that's not disparaging. It's just saying that it's creative to mix those styles. So pretty interesting. Yeah.
All right. Now we've sat on this for quite a long time. Why don't we go ahead? We're going to get back into the format of the interview because we've got one more section to go.
Okay, let's do it.
And these ones are all fun. These are all hypothetical questions. These are all what ifs and if you coulds and things like that. And the first one, if you could work with any one artist who's currently alive, and if it's a group, you have to pick a single member of the group.
Okay.
Who would you pick and how would you work with them?
One artist that I could work with that's still alive. And this is to make like a current record for myself, right?
You can do whatever you would like as far as musically goes. That's what I'm saying. Who's the one person you would work with and how would you work with them? You could work with anybody.
This is a very, very tough question for me. I'm trying to think who would be the artist that I think that I would just be like, bruh, I need to work with them. I would say probably I'm gonna go with somebody that I feel like I would just make it crazy. I'm gonna go different. If there was a producer that I could work with, just a producer crew that I've always wanted to work with, I'm gonna give two different examples. If I wanted to do a music that I felt like was just a beautiful record, open record, I'd do a song like Sango.
Okay.
Sango of the Selection Crew. That's my favorite. One of my favorite producers. They make beautiful music. I think that we can make something crazy together. Both from the Northwest. I think that the Northwest outsources their talent a lot, so you do not know that, but that sound is the Northwest.
Yeah.
We're all over music. People don't really know that. So it would be Sango. If it was somebody that I wanted to make an urban hit with, just like, oh, this is going to knock socks off, it would be Hit Boy as a producer. I think Hit Boy, from Griselda to Nas to, he's proved that he's just elite. He's one of the best in the world with it. To do those things artistically, if I was to do a musical song with an artist that I think that I respect and wanted to do a song with, I think that I would do, this is a tough one. I think that this is a really tough one because we're talking like classic artists, but I don't really have anybody that I think somebody that just makes me go, like I'm a fan of what they do. I still think it would be somebody like a Freddie Gibbs or something like that, where I really respect your pen game. Like Freddie's the man. So he doesn't get enough respect like that. So it'd be like a Freddie Gibbs or something that I would just think that I would just do like a crazy record with. Probably be Freddie. Sorry that I had to think. I've thought about this in different lanes because it would be something completely different that I'm doing with them. Like Sango, I think that I would make a song that is just one of those songs that we told you about. Just beautiful song that you turn on.
I mean, that's Sango's background.
Yeah, that's his background, right? He's gonna make a crew with you know what I'm saying, different producers and different sounds. Sango might make you smile, cry, and laugh on the same record because of the way that his music is. So I love Sango, man. I at them all the time. Sango, come home with it, man. Can we get a Northwest artist with Sango?
Yeah, right.
Can we get a Northwest? You're from Seattle, bro. Much love. Can we get you to do a special Northwest something like a Northwest with just a couple of artists? I just don't know why that hasn't happened. And then not even no disrespect to him. I think that we outsource so much of our talent. It's so fresh. You don't even know half of the people that are from the Northwest. Like, that are the business. Remember the business. Remember those the business when they're from Seattle. So you hear that on every with the business. They're from Seattle.
Yeah.
Bro, like we got so many people that are hitters, respected and known, but we feel like we got to move to LA.
Yeah.
Even Amine lives in LA. Like no disrespect to bro, but it's like there should be an Amine Presents. Just like there was a Little John Presents, Jeezy Presents, Diddy Presents. That's how you get your area on. Cameron Presents, Harlem World, Mace, Harlem World, Mace. That's how you got Cam and all them. You know what I'm saying? Like, people forget, like, we just don't do that here. And there's no disrespect, but it's like, if you get a little bit of, ooh, and this is, like I said, I just have to keep it real. And it can't be a Macklemore. There's no disrespect to that. There's one white boy in the history of goddamn hip hop that could come from an area and was so ingrained with the culture that he can bring up his brothers around him that happen to be all black. This is Eminem. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. The Northwest's problem is we're so much excited. Everybody, people come here and they're so excited to come here. DMX named his son Tacoma. You know, people come to Portland and say, it's the best concert I ever had in my life. But when we come here, we're so happy to give it to somebody else. Like, oh, this is what we have here.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, investing in the area that we come from, just setting down and believing where we come from. And then by the time we get it, we do what the industry does. Like, we still haven't had Mina had a song, but we still haven't had, to keep it real, hip hop is black culture. So it's like, you can't be like, this is no disrespect, but you can't be like, the biggest artist from Portland is Win, and then not have no other artist that is from the culture, because that's going to work in the Northwest. It's going to work here. When it gets to Atlanta, fuck no. It's like, well, where is the artist that comes from the culture that made her act this way? Eminem always had Proof. All these dudes would be like, I'm really from 8 Mile. Like, this is where I'm from. These dudes checking in from 8 Mile. Like, when you see the movie, this is the real fucking story of the dude with the dreadlock. You always have to have something that is tied to the culture if you're going to lead with the majority. Yeah. Millie's from Philly. His shit is believable. And I think when the Northwest and Macklemore, it's like, you didn't see that. So then it was like a oorah moment. The industry was cool with it. Then it went away. He was even cool with Kendrick Lamar. If we had something that balanced out both sides of it, I think that the Northwest would be a lot more successful in art. You have to have something that comes from both sides of it. It has to be, you know, Meg Thee Stallion and 501 certified. I think it has to be this and that. Yeah. Maybe When she's dope, she might be the first one to break it. But that's always been my theory. And that's no disrespect to When. I just always believe, like, we're always trying to lead with what is popular instead of being like, we got to have yin and yang. You have to have both of them for it to be successful. Somebody has to be like, okay, this dude's from this. It has to be like, you know, Mozzie's from Sacramento. And then there's, what is it? Sick Mate or whatever is there's a couple of other dudes that aren't black that come from the area that are from it, but they're tied into Mozzie, so it kind of breaks the ground evenly, right? I truly believe it has to be like the yin and the yang, and the Northwest hasn't had that moment yet. We're going to outsource it, or we're going to not have the other foot to lead in. Like, who did Macklemore put on? Like, it should have been Macklemore Presents. Now this is a dude from Seattle that I mess with, and it just never came, right? So when that boom goes away, we don't have anybody. And so it just sucks for the Northwest. I just don't think that we have had it yet. They look at us like copycats instead of leaders.
Well, subsequently, that actually kind of ties into the next question. So for the other half, if you could, or is there a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you really like what they do and you would like to interact with them somehow?
Well, I think I'm blessed. I've interacted with a lot of the artists that I want to interact with. Mike Cabes, Brookfield Deuce, of course, Dre Slabs, Scooter Rogers. You know, our clique is pretty thick here in Portland. If we had an artist that is from here that I haven't had a chance to work with that I would like to work with that is bigger, I've been around Dame. I'd like to do some stuff with Dame. I think that Deuce... that Dame's last album was pretty dope, so I think that that's an artist that I've been around, and I'm like, okay, he's around the Northwest that I think that is super dope. A Northwest artist that I haven't really got to work with that I would like to work with. There's a couple people that, like I said, I respect what they do. It's weird when you get in these spaces, and then you get asked a question, you're like, who? And then you forget somebody, you're like, damn, I would like to really, really work with them. Yeah. But there's a few artists, like I said, no disrespect to the Northwest. There's a few guys, but you know, inside the campus who I'm really focused on. Like I said, Amine, I'd like to work with Amine. We went to Portland State together. and stuff like that. So maybe a Mine or something, like I said, Thango, just because the artists that these are artists that I'm like, we could start a Northwest. He does stuff with K Tronada. We could really start like a Northwest coalition. And we're not talking about carry nobody. We're talking about cats, put on a beat, make a hit song, put it out, and let these artists carry themselves, right? There's a few of us that I would like to work with. Quincy Jones, Good Time in Bremerton, Washington, was from Bremerton, Washington, the dude that produced Michael Jackson's album. Like, people don't really know, like, the Northwest really has people that have had large impacts on the music industry. You just don't know that, right? So it's unfortunate because they live in LA for 30 years.
Yeah.
By the time you meet him, he's Adam from,
Yeah.
Calabasas, right? So, yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. And then for this next one, and this one literally sky's the limits.
Mhm.
If you could perform anywhere in the world
Mhm.
and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access, power, building stability, guaranteed best lineup, guaranteed best show,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have to be a venue, it can be anywhere, where would you want to perform?
And the crowd will be full and everything?
Yeah, guaranteed. All the logistics for the best show you're ever going to have already been sorted out. You just have to pick where it happens.
Huh. I always talk about giving back to the Northwest, so we're gonna do that joint right there at the Key Arena or CenturyLink, right there in Seattle. Like, so I always talk about give it back. We have the best audience in the world. We just gotta love ourselves as much as we love everybody else.
Oh yeah,
that's the problem with the Northwest. That's the long story short. Hopefully nobody takes a lot of this stuff as a diss, and maybe I didn't say some of the stuff right. So hopefully they don't get into these political. I'm not trying to diss anybody. I support everybody, but these are just my theories of how I watch this. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely do that. And then if I did that, I'm gonna have all these artists open that I'm talking about. Right, we'll have a man. Shout out Swiggle Mandela.
Yeah.
He looks at a lot of things. Chase out a lot of things. I'm gonna have all the artists that have reached out to me and tried things, do certain things. Even a win, like, she's dope. Like, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to that. I just feel like there should be a yin to a yang and all type of things. If they're gonna pick up Win, they should pick up somebody else, so that it's like when TDE did it. Great example. Absol, J-Rock.
Mm-hmm.
We got Schoolboy and Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
J-Rock, hella real dudes, love this stuff. He was the hottest out the gate right away. Schoolboy Q, more jumpity, uppity party. Absol, more, traditional hip hop and what everybody would think. Kendrick Lamar, lyricist. We're gonna have all these yings to these yangs. They're different things. So you're gonna get this one, this one, different, this one. Not necessarily race, but style based, right? You have to have the yin with the yang. So then when we do this, now we can introduce a shizza. Now we can introduce different people, because if people don't like this, they're gonna like this. They're gonna like this. Now you have a pizza and everybody's taking a slice. My point with the Northwest is that we're only offering one slice. We're like, this is what you get. This is the style, right? So when people hear us, they don't know that. They're like, well, the Northwest doesn't have no lyricists, or, Northwest is really, outside there. Like, what is Amine? He's kind of like artsy, craftsy, saying. Then you hear Mike Capes, you're like, well, damn, they really do got real lyricists out there, right? So that's what I would say with that question right there. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, and again, this was kind of a heady one.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick a completely different genre to perform than any other style of music you've done before, so if you've done like a cross-genre song or anything like that, both of them are off the table, and you can't pick country music or anything that's dominantly electronic, what would you pick?
No, dominantly electronic. No, country would have been easy.
Yeah, that's why I had to take it off the table.
I would have been out there real quick. I would say a Motown era, like that Motown classical era. I think that's my favorite era of music. My mom was born in '52, so that's my favorite era of music. I just think that and this is no disrespect to hip hop, but I think their music was better. I think that they just had better music. Like if you just really listen to it, like every album, like you listen to, like, damn, 80% of this album was good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's my favorite era of music. I think that I would go back and do that. If I had to do a cross of those and I did something like that, it would be like a G-Funk then. You know what I'm saying? Where G-Funk crossed them. I thought that was, I think that area of hip hop needs to be really looked at more. I think.
Have you heard of Desi Hollow?
No.
Have you heard what he's putting out?
No.
Because he's basically putting out a G-Funk song every week.
Desi Hollow.
Yeah.
How you spell this?
DEZZYHOLLOW. Yo, big shout out Desi Hollow if you want to be on the show.
DEZZY
Yeah, Desi Hollow. This
HALL.
HOLLOW, I believe.
Oh, there we go. Boom.
Yeah, check this man out. You're gonna really like what he does.
What? How you hear about Britta?
I listen to a lot of music.
Okay, Desi Hollow. Okay, so yeah, see, that's what I love. I love G-Funk. So I just don't feel like, I feel like that era of music was brought in. Snoop Dogg did Funkadelic.
Mhm.
That era of music, G-Funk was only here for like 3 years, like a good little 3 years, and then Pac died. And it just kind of disappeared. And it was like, oh, I'm going to come back and reinvent myself. I don't think that was dug into nearly enough. I think DJ Quick was blackballed after Biggie Smalls died. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about it, people don't really recognize that. DJ Quick, Rhythmalism dropped in 98. He was blackballed.
Yeah.
After Biggie died, they thought that he had something more to do with it than he did. Now we're finding out now. It's crazy how 30 years, I used to be like, who killed Tupac? You know what I'm saying? Now we know for sure who killed Tupac and for sure who killed Biggie, like a retaliation for the, you know what I'm saying? Insane to know these things. But shout out to my younger self for stressing my fucking brain like aliens came down and just snatched Pac and Big. Like we really thought some shit, right? But yeah, I think that era of music was just took away too soon. I would love to get in with some live musicians and get that stuff going again. Yeah, definitely something like that would be super dope. Like just to make a full album of it, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, now I'm about Dizzy Hollow. Yeah.
Yeah, check him out.
Definitely.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell people what's coming up, say like end of November to February? What's in that window for you?
Well, like I said, we just got the plaque for Dyrect, DATRIGH. It was the #3 album in the country on hip hop. We released it on a Friday in September. Was it September 6th? So that album was good. We just got the plaque for that. Right now, I'm prepping to release a solo project, because that project was me and Dre Slaps, called God Particle.
Oh, yeah.
The God particle is a particle that they say started everything in existence in the universe. They still aren't able to track it down what exactly it is, right? So I have a project called God Particle. If you guys know me, I did a video in Venice, let it out in January, called Just Tapping In. So that video was in a gondola in Venice. This video, we did a full professional video in Paris when we did it.
Okay.
We held on to it for a year. So I'm releasing my first single for that, probably called My Moment. I'm releasing that at the end of November, and we'll release the video in Paris in December.
Oh, exciting.
That's what we're going to do. So we got a full video that's being edited in Paris. It's dope, man. Different outfits, different locations in Paris. What is it? The Louvre, Eiffel Tower, the Egyptian, God, what that is, whatever that's called them, or whatever that's called. We got all that in there. So it's going to be a dope video that we released called My Moment. I think it's going to kick it off. Like I said, best visuals, best lyrics, best music. I'm truly trying to capture that time in music where it captivated you and we're not just doing a music video in our room. Right?
Oh, yeah.
There's an artist that, like, you know, we're just trying to get back to that. So that's what we're doing in November. And then that will start off the kickoff to the God Particle release. So we'll do that. Another single, then we're going to release the project and then do another single. So the project I'll probably release to have God Particle out by Marches. February,
Okay.
March.
Hell yeah.
February, March, we'll have it out because we're going to release some more singles. February, March, maybe end of March, because we're going to have different singles by May into June with Dre Slaps for summer music. We already have that all planned out. God Particle's already recorded. It'll be 10 songs.
Oh, yeah.
Already done. Released Dyrect. It was already done. So we've had this project. This project was done actually before Dyrect. So it's weird because my producers were like, man, this could be aging or whatever, because the new project sounds so upbeat and stuff.
Yeah.
But this project is really, I wanted to give you a 90s album with 2000 production, if that makes sense. So it's 2022 production. But a feel of an artist that tells you a full story. When you turn on this project, you're going to hear an exciting intro, but then there's going to be deep conceptual songs in the middle of it, but then give you a party feel until you get to the album again with a last final thought.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is this is a project that we want to do, and we study great projects. A lot of young kids don't study great projects, so we go and we listen to an All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli, A Life After Death, Stillmatic, Illmatic, I Am, Volume 1. You go back and you listen to all these great projects, and you digest them, and you say, how is an artist able to tell a story, keep you captivated, and end it the way that they ended it, with you still taking the artistic message. So that's what I tried to do with God Particle, and I want to see how fans digest it, because it's a completely different project. This project, Dyrect, I think was more modern day. Like you're up flashy, you know what I'm saying? We're in Frisco, we're doing these things, but God Particle is more. The first song is called My Moment. It's called Picture Me Rolling, and it's just it's basically Picture Me Rolling, talking about the song goes, I'm in my zone a lot, not in my phone a lot, maintained by blown a lot, I ain't known a lie, so I put it in motion. Bread my closest, picture me rolling, step in my moment. That's how the song goes. So it's kind of just talking about, being present where I'm at, and picture me rolling from where I came from. Because I come from, a legally blind mother who had to sell, dope for a living to survive. You know what I'm saying? So single Black mother getting $700 a month, and I'm in Paris kicking it with my friends, hanging and having a good time, looking at the Eiffel Tower from my back window. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's in my back window. Like, it's not like we have to travel. We have a good enough room. That is our back window, right? So it's about accepting that moment, being blessed from it, and saying that this type of love is what started the love for hip hop. This is the God particle. This is what they're looking for. This is why they say hip hop's dead, because the God particle is missing. What started it, and so that's why the album's called God Particle, and that's why that single's called My Moment. Oh, yeah. And so it's a deep concept, and it's giving honor to hip hop, and also saying that this is my journey. So I'm trying to do that moment that I said again and capture it, and it's a crazy sample. I just can't wait for everybody to hear it. It's not gonna be like anything that you've heard recently in rap, because it's not trying to capture that. So it's pretty cool, man. It's gonna be magical, like I'd say. I think it's anybody that's ever played music, I think it's gonna be something that a musician likes, because it's artistic as hell, but also lyricists like, because it's lyrical. So it's gonna be beautiful. It's not. It's almost doing a Deadly Rule. It's almost ignoring those kids that want to be boom, boom, boom. It's almost ignoring them. But the song is so beautiful that I think it'll capture a lot of those people anyway. Oh, yeah. Well, definitely looking forward to it coming out. Definitely. For this next one, why don't you go and look at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you? This is Dyrect, man. You can look me up, Dyrect on Instagram, Dyrect, I believe, on TikTok, and for YouTube is Dyrect360. So Dyrect360, Dyrect360. Get me on YouTube, but if you put in Dyrect, Dyrect, I'm gonna pop up anywhere. On Spotify, we're the #1 artist on there. Anywhere between 7 and 18,000 listeners on Spotify. Dyrect on Apple Music, anything. So look us up, man. Tap in, man. Hard work, and if you ever are confused, just look for the artist with the most lyrics and quality. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here? Yeah, man. Shout out Dre Slaps, man. The best producer, I think one of the best producers in the world, man. Me and my boy got some more stuff coming. If you've seen Dyrect, that went #3. We're trying to go #1 next time. So shout out Dre Slaps, man. Shout out Scooter Rogers, man. Shout out Cape. Shout out Deuce. The full crew that rolls with Rare Vibes, man. Shout out Cutthroat, my little cousin, man. Shout out Mace. Shout out Boom and Alliance Battle League. I'm trying to think, man. Shout out Josh, man. Shout out Bump, man, that is down with this Good to Go second, man. Shout out Darnell, man. Everybody that supports, man. And most importantly, shout out the fans, man. The people that went out and actually pre-ordered and bought the album to let us know in the Northwest that we could have a #3 album. So yeah, man, that's how we're gonna shout out. We're gonna shout out y'all, because y'all the people that make it possible. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go. Mm-hmm. Before we do, I'm gonna steal the camera for just a second. Mm-hmm. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they're at, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, the final question. Mm-hmm. What is your guilty pleasure song? Guilty pleasure song. Let me see. Guilty pleasure song. Something that I just really, a guilty pleasure that I'm like, I probably shouldn't probably like this and listen to this. Or it's just like one that you love that just people may not like vibe with 100%, but you're like, that's fine. I do. This is funny because I don't know why I like this song, but ever since I was a kid, it just really, this is going to be funny to people, but when I was a kid and he was like, suffocation, no breathing, don't give up. I was like, this shit is kind of cracking to me. I don't know why this is my last resort. I don't really, I'm third grade. I mean, this shit is, I have first resort. But it was hitting to me. There's just some songs like that. I just like, you can just feel the passion, Yep. They're like, damn, this is fucking dun dun dun, like shit like that. There's certain songs that just hit me as a musician. Just like, damn, I could feel the passion in which they went through. So I think that's one of the ones definitely right there that hit me in my soul.
Hell yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's definitely a great choice.
yeah, it's like, I don't know what it was. I was just a kid, like, he's going through some real shit. like, this is real, B. Like, how do you even relate to that? Like, suffocation, no breathing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's probably the joint right there.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get up and out of here. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us
No
today.
problem, man. Northwest Dyrect, man. Tap in.
Oh, yeah. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. I'm Jimmy,
Yeah, this is Dyrect, man. You know what it is.
and we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.